We know that the data probably, if markets are up, probably did help Bitcoin. And the answer is yes, it did. You can see very clearly Bitcoin caught a little bit of a bid, but
Bitcoin Zella stands out with its simplicity and clarity. We've crafted an experience that anyone can dive into, whether you're a crypto expert or just a new to the crypto world. Now guess who keeps his eye on us? The author of best-selling book Rich Dad Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki. And we want to take this opportunity and thank all the people who trusted us, and we read every comment. And the best part, it's free. Subscribing now means you will get all new information for free. Don't just follow the trends, stay ahead of them. Subscribe to Bitcoin Zella today and enjoy the new edge. In this video, let's talk about Bitcoin and more.
There's always a but, right? Unfortunately. One of the issues here is that we're still below the pivot line. So it's a good little uptick on Bitcoin on the daily chart, but right here, this is the problem, right? Is that we're right into that pivot where we're still below that pivot line. So we got to just monitor that pivot line. We would need a move up here, and then we have to get above to really flip the script, and the bulls could then take control again. Right now, anything below here, the bears are in control until you get here, and then the fight will begin again. The bulls versus the bears will fight it out. You'll have bulls buying at support, bears selling into that, trying to break them down. Who's going to win? It's a battle of epic proportions. We'll have to watch and see. All right, next up, let's take a look at Ethereum. I haven't looked at Ethereum with you guys for a while. Generally, I like to do so. Ethereum still looks kind of in the same boat as Bitcoin in that very key trend line right here. Look at this trend line down. Every time it comes into this range, plus you have this baseline right here, price got below and it's still struggling. Shorter term, if you're looking for really a short-term little bias change, needs to get above this area here, then it can reattack the pivot line there. If it gets above the pivot line, now the bulls take really full control and can force it up significantly. But right now, it's honestly still just like Bitcoin. The bears are still in control. And by the way, it has nothing to do with my personal bias or whatever. Frankly, I try to keep my biases out of it. In fact, you guys know I love Bitcoin. Ethereum, I'm okay on it. I'd say I'm lukewarm, kind of mid-level, indifferent, if you will. But ultimately, the key is it's all about the charts, right? I hate people that try to just sell a narrative like, oh, it's going to do this because I just think so. And like back it up with a thesis, right? Back that, up.
Bitcoin's recent 8% drop is driven by weak U.S. labor market data, concerns over a potential tech bubble, and regulatory challenges, creating bearish market sentiment. Bitcoin's price fell below $54,000 as weak U.S. payroll data raised fears of an economic slowdown, influencing traders' risk tolerance. Worries about a tech bubble, as seen in major tech sector losses, have further contributed to Bitcoin's downward trend. Legal challenges like Coinbase's lawsuit ruling are dampening institutional investment interest, adding to bearish sentiment. Ongoing outflows from U.S.-listed spot Bitcoin ETF indicate a lack of confidence, signaling future volatility. Concerns are growing that Bitcoin miners may be forced to sell holdings, adding downward pressure to the market. Ethereum has underperformed Bitcoin by 44% since the merge, according to research from CryptoQuant. Despite significant upgrades and the recent approval of Ethereum Spot Exchange-Traded Funds, ETF, the cryptocurrency continues to face challenges relative to Bitcoin.
What we can see very, very clearly here is that the non-farm payrolls came in at 142,000. That was lower than estimates of 165. However, I said this yesterday, if you watched Trading the Close, I talked about the number. If it's even close, it might be okay for the markets. Everyone, after the JOLTS number was so bad earlier this week, the ADP number was bad just yesterday, everyone was bracing on the edge of their seat, ready for a horrendous non-farm payrolls number, and it came in weaker than expected at 142. But not so weak that everyone's like, holy cow, the economy's flushing down the toilet, right? So that's important. Now, there are some caveats, but wait, there's more. So number one, hourly earnings, this is a positive, at least for now. Hourly earnings were better than expected, 0.4% versus 0.3% expected, all right? So that's how much people are making. So people are making a little bit more money, which is a general positive. Now, when is that not a positive? If it triggers inflation down the road. Right now, that's not a concern for the markets because inflation has come down so much, but it's just something we want to be aware of. It is a positive to keep the economy running because remember, our economy in the U.S. is all about consumer spending. If consumers are making a little bit more money, then maybe they can spend a little bit more, stimulating the economy from falling off that cliff. Now, to the negative stuff, right? So wait, there's even more. The revisions that came in for the past few numbers from non-farm payrolls were atrocious. All right, last month went from I think it was 112,000 to 90-something thousand, a horrendous revision there. The previous months got revised down as well. So while this number at 142 it's weak, but it's not horrible, I wouldn't be surprised if next month we get a revision of this number that drops it to 120 or 110. All right, so again, now you can see very clearly here that the stock market did have a bounce on this number. And again, I think this is the sigh of relief. Oh my goodness, thank goodness it's not a negative number or below 100,000. Now we are pulling back a little bit, and today will be very interesting. Can the markets take this mediocre, I would call this mediocre data, not horrible data, not good data, but mediocre data, and can they keep the markets from, again, having a big down day? Right now, if we look at where the S&P closed yesterday, right here, we're basically flat, right? I mean, really give or take right around the flat line on the S&P 500. But again, will it hold, especially considering Broadcom's earnings? Again, Broadcom, by the way, is the third biggest chip stock out there. NVIDIA first, Taiwan Semi second, Broadcom third. $700 billion market cap company. And that stock was getting crushed. Let me flip over to that chart as we speak here so that we can take a look at what it's doing. It has come off of its lows from the pre-market. So this is Broadcom, right? And Broadcom, again, you can see here's earnings after the hours yesterday when it was reported. The stock flushed, went sideways into the 8 p.m. after hours closed. This morning, when the markets were absolutely getting annihilated, it was down even more and is kind of slowly ground back up. But it's still down about 7%, 8% on the day. So it's still down pretty big, especially for a market cap the size of Broadcom. Now, one of the things here, a lot of people looking at NVIDIA and saying, wow, why isn't NVIDIA down $4 to $5 if Broadcom, the third biggest player, is down, 8% on the day or so? Why isn't NVIDIA down more? Because actually, NVIDIA is right now positive, right? Here's where NVIDIA closed yesterday. Here's where it's trading. So if we look at this, it closed right around 107, right in here, and you can see it's very clearly positive. The kicker is if you read the financial disclosures and data that Broadcom revealed, their AI business actually did really, really well. It was their fiber optics networking business that is in the trash. It's their other businesses that are really doing poorly. Thus, that is why they lowered their guidance. So for the semis that are strictly AI, this actually was not a horrible report for Broadcom. And I think that's why, even though NVIDIA was quite a bit lower this morning when the whole market was down, it has come back and done pretty well. Now, we'll watch other semiconductors, right? Let's see what SMCI does today. Let's see what Taiwan Semi does, what AMD do today. But ultimately, let's keep an eye on those and see how the whole sector does. But I do think it's important to look into the fine print of these reports. It's not just, oh my goodness, AI is in the trash. AI was actually good for Broadcom. It was their other parts of the business.
Legendary trader Peter Brandt signals a prolonged Bitcoin correction, with selling pressure outweighing buying. While Brandt forecasts further decline, Samson Moe predicts a bullish reversal. Peter Brandt highlighted that Bitcoin has been in a slow, steady decline since its peak of $73,750, down 26.39%, and its prolonged nature is causing emotional strain on investors. Brandt sees strong selling pressure, noting that selling is stronger than buying in Bitcoin's current pattern, which he calls a megaphone formation. Brandt warns that Bitcoin could test the lower boundary of this pattern, potentially dropping to $46,000 unless a strong push into new all-time highs occurs. In contrast, Samson Moe dismisses the bearish outlook, arguing that Bitcoin will not decline further and predicting an omega candle, signaling the end of its accumulation phase. While Bitcoin has dropped 7.6% over the past week and Ethereum has slid 7.98%, many other assets have faced notable declines. The Tron-based CUN token took the hardest hit, plunging 23.61% to become this week's biggest loser. On the flip side, Helium, HNT, surged 27.23% within the same 7-day span. If you've been with us so far, a big thank you. Don't forget to subscribe for free to Bitcoin Zella for your daily news. The link is waiting below. That's all for today's crypto news. Stick around for more updates, insights, and analysis on cryptocurrencies. Share your thoughts in the comments, like this video, and subscribe for more exciting content.